with the manual properties, we need to use embedded properties. See, in the starting of the session I told you how to create an embedded property. Okay, today also we'll create that one. So first of all, multiple records means for any property we can fetch records here. No need to have any primary key or anything. Only for fetching single record we will be using the primary key. But for multiple records we can use any property, so we can do it for any property here. So under the property, if there are any records we can dynamically fetch those records from the database. First of all, go to the table. So the sequence will be like this. Okay, choose one data table from which you are fetching the records, multiple records. Then we will create the embedded properties. We will create an embedded property. And then we will create a section, and in the section the layout used is repeating layout. For manual properties we will use smart layout or freeform layout. Here for embedded properties we will use repeating, either repeating row or repeating column. And then we'll create a flow action. So after the flow action, see, in the section itself we need to configure the parameters. There will be some control will be there. Go to the control and we need to configure all the parameters. That one I will show. For each and every individual property, for example, if you are selecting any property, for that property we need to give the control and configure all the parameters. Same process we need to do for other properties also. That one I will show you in detail. Then activity. See here, this activity we will be calling from the section itself. Means in the section properties, so in the control properties we will be calling the activity rule. That one also I will show in the configuration. So here, previous sessions what we have done, the activity rule we are calling in the flow diagram at the time of insert or fetching single record. Here in this case we will directly call the activity from the property itself. That one I will show you. And this activity is for fetching, so there is a method for fetching multiple records. In that activity we will using those methods. And finally we will add a flow, and in that flow diagram I will add the flow action name. This is the steps we need to follow for the multiple records. First of all, choose the data table and check whether records are available or not. If I am inserting some more records in the same table manually, only 2 records we have for every property, I am inserting some more. just save the records. Now these properties will be inheriting to the class structure, means we have to create one property and we need to embed all these property names. So just add any property name under the class structure, create one property, and give the property name as student list. You can give any name. For normal properties we will be property mode will take single value, right? Here in this case select page list or page group. I am selecting page list here. Now you will get a different options, means you have to enter the page class name. Page class name means here the table class name. So the class name which is given for the table. Student info is the page class we should enter. Then click on save. It will create a property called student list. Refresh so that it will become display in order according to the alphabetical order. This is the student list. Expand the list. These are all the property names, so which are inherited from the table. Now we have to use these properties in the user interface. Okay, create a section rule. Okay, I am showing the layout type as I am working with repeating row. When you practice you can try with repeating column also. The same process I will show you how to use repeating column and repeating row. So first of all select the layout. To select the layout option, go to layout tab, drag the layout and select the type of layout. In the repeating, select the option as row. If you want to choose column, we can choose column. Now we can delete the previous one by clicking on this total layout. It will select the total layout and click on this delete row option. Now in this layout we have to specify the list name. What is the list name? Student list is the list name. We have to specify the list name in the layout properties. So this is the properties. So how to go to the properties means click on this magnifier icon. So this properties icon, it will open a pop-up. Here we have an option called list or group. In the drop down select the list name. Student list name is available. Select from the drop down, then close. See here you can find the option here. I will repeat, student list of class student info. So it is saying that this list, so all these properties belong to the class called student info class, okay, which is a data table class. Now we can drag and drop the properties under this list option. And repeating row means the property names will get side by side. Repeating column means it will get in a horizontal order. Sorry, repeating row means it will get in horizontal order. So repeating column means vertical order. So how we are using the other sections, in that order you will get in repeating column. Now drag the property in the first column, second row you will get the, so here is the property name and the label value. Next in the second column, second row, if you want to add one more property, we will use insert column after button. Again insert column. Okay. So if you want to add, you can add more number of columns and you can add the remaining properties. So now in this user interface, suppose I want to fetch the records for the student name property. Check here, for the student name we are having all these records. So all these records I want to dynamically fetch in the from the database. So for that, first of all, what we need to do means we need to add a control for the student name, and then we need to configure that control. So how to do that? So we are doing first student name, right? So go to this field properties, student name, field properties. Now there is a option called control. A new pop-up will open. Here there is option called control option. Now in the control there is the name of the control is dynamic select. The name of the control is dynamic select, means for fetching the data dynamically from the database, the control name is dynamic select. So first of all, add that control in the drop down, or you can manually type. It will display in the drop down, and select the control name. And after selecting the control, we have to configure this control. How to do that means, so click on this again in the control same place, open this configure control. When you click on this magnifier, it will open the configure control. Here we need to fill all the parameters. So how we can generate the dynamic select? So under this first option is method for generating dynamic select, and we can do this using the activity. So many options will be there, but we can only do using the activity rule. So we have to select the option as activity, and it will ask you to fill the activity information. So applies to means wherever you are creating this user interface, we have to provide that class name. So means enter the class structure name. Csoft Solutions. Enter the class structure name. Next, it is asking to enter the activity name, but still we did not create any activity, but give any name, and in the next step we have to create the activity with the same name. So what is the name we are providing here? With the same name we have to create activity in the next step. Just I am giving one activity name. I am giving the activity name. With the same name we have to create activity in the next step. Then class of return results. So where we are getting the data, we have to enter that class name, means the data table class name. So that student info 1 is the data table class name. Next, common information, so dynamic select information. So ID, select ID means so just not mandatory. If you want, you can give anything ID. Caption means if you want to add any caption, give the caption name. For example, I am giving select student name as the caption name, because we are doing it for student name property, right? I am giving the caption as student name. Next, property for option display, we are doing it for student name. add the property name as student name. Next property for option value also student name. Now uncheck this option enable caching and click on OK option. Okay, so first of all, under the dynamic select activity, class structure name, provide the activity name, then provide the data table class name and default caption. So these two are not mandatory, so optional only. So if you want, you can give any caption. Select student name and property for option display and value. So for which property we are doing this configuration, we have to give the property names and click on OK. And the same way, if you want to fetch for other properties, if you want to dynamically fetch the records for other properties also, we have to follow the same process. So whatever the configuration done for the student name, if you want to do for the remaining properties also means, so we will follow the same process. We have to add the control name. You can practice that one. So control name is dynamic select, then again go to configure control. So what are the information you have given, so according to that you have to give the configure control. Okay, now save the, here I did only for the student name. Now I will create a flow action. Drag the section, save the flow action. Now in the next step, we have to create the activity rule. So this is the name we have given there, and with the same name we have to create activity now. Okay, so first of all go to pages and classes. Okay, from where we are getting the data, we are getting the data from the data table, right? So first of all enter the class name, our data table class name. Next in the page name, so previously at the time of fetching single record, we have used the page name as primary, right? Here in this case there is no need to enter any default page name, we can give any page name here. So previous cases at the time of insert, we have given p work page as the default page, and at the time of fetching single record, for that compulsory we can fetch only using the primary key. So for that there is a default page called primary, but here in this case, so we are fetching multiple records and we can do it for any property. So for that just we have to add one reference page, and that page can be any name we can give. So just you can give any name. So this is the page name, that can be any name, and this page name acts as a reference to the properties under this data table class. Now go to step. We have to add the same page name under the step page, and the methods used are for fetching multiple. Two methods we will use, one is obj browse method and show page method. Obj browse method and show page method, these two methods we will apply for fetching multiple records. Obj browse, what it will do, it will go and search in the database, and what are the records you have under that property, it will fetch all those records, and for display purpose the method used is show page method. So obj browse will fetch all the records, and for the display purpose it will display using the show page method. Okay, do that in the activity. Select the method name, expand the method, and we need to fill some values. So first of all, page name. So page name is same page name, and obj class means here your data table class name. So it will go to this page under that. So this it will search in the data table class, and so again here no need to enter any records or anything. So now directly go to the field option. So in the field option, normally we used to select the page name, right? Previously under the property name and property value we used to select the page name. So but here already we have given the page name directly, no need to. So here in this case, if you click on down arrow, it will display this option page name, but here not necessary page name. Directly click on dot option, it will display all the property names, because page name is already given in the values already. In this configuration values already we have given the page name. Here directly click on dot option and select your property name. So we are doing this one for student name. Select that student name property, and in the future if you are doing it for other properties, for example in the same section if you are adding for other properties, means student ID or any other property, in the same activity click on plus symbol and select the other property name. So we can use the same activity. So if you are doing it for, but in the property this configuration control we have to provide the same activity name. If you are adding for other properties, means there also you have to provide the same activity name. Okay, that one you can practice. I am showing for only property, for one property. For the remaining properties you can drive for two properties in a single user interface. Okay, now I am adding one more step. First of all, add the user page name, and then in this method option, method name is show page. Method name is show page. Okay, no need to fill any parameters under this show page. Now go to the security. Here see, in the previous sessions we used to call the activity in the flow diagram. So at that time we used to take the type as utility, right? So at the time of inserting and fetching or emptying the data, so we used to select the activity type as utility. The reason is we are calling this activity in the flow diagram. So if you want to call, means compulsory the type must be utility. But in this case, for example, if you are calling the activity from section or flaction or any user interface rule, the type will be activity only, and we have to manually change these options. We have to select mesh dot option and uncheck authenticate option, because we have to manually start the or manually give access to that section to call this activity. So for that we need to select mesh dot and uncheck authenticate option. So for flow, means there is no necessary, if you want to call the activity in the flow there is no need to change anything. Whenever we are calling from user interface or any other rule, we have to select mesh dot option and uncheck authenticate option. Now save the activity. Now I will open any flow. add the flag action name. Select creates in your object, skip create harness, save the flow. Now execute this one. So in the developer environment we need to manually add a row, first row. So in the drop down you can see all the records from the database, and we can dynamically add any number of rows. In the runtime we can add rows here. So that is the advantage of this repeating row and repeating column. Repeating column means we can dynamically add columns at runtime. If you take repeating row, we can dynamically add rows at runtime. So that is the difference between row and column. And in the coming sessions what we can do, so according to the value under this property, we can directly display the value for this property. For example, suppose if you enter, in this case suppose if you enter student ID, it can automatically display the student name. If you enter, if you add one more row and if you select the student ID, we can directly display the student name. So like this also we can do, so using the decision rules and all. Okay, now we have only fetched the data dynamically. So for fetching the data, this is the process. So first thing is we are creating an embedded property, so it will create a list, and under the list option it will get all the property names from the table. In the second step we are creating a section using repeating row layout. Same process you can try for repeating column also, so I will show you. If you want to use the repeating column, just select the layout, and here also first of all go to layout properties, specify the list name, and while drag and dropping the properties in the layout, we should leave the first row as blank, because it contains some default symbols like plus symbol and delete symbol. So there are some default symbols are available, so we should leave the first row as blank. So drag the properties from the second row. Same process, but here repeating column means the properties will get one after another. Now here insert row after option will get. So according to our requirement, so we can add any number of properties. So here in the runtime we can dynamically add columns. So in the previous case, in the runtime we can dynamically add rows. So that is the difference, only difference. And suppose if you want to fetch the records for any property, here same process, go to field properties, add the control name as dynamic select, and we need to configure the control. So I have shown for one property, right? So same way try for some other properties. Okay, so in the control properties we have given the control as dynamic select, and in the configuration control, so all these options we need to fill. So activity, enter your class structure name and activity name, then from which data table you are fetching the data, provide the data table class name. Then this is okay. If you want to give any caption, means provide the caption, and for which property you are doing the fetching the data, provide the property names and uncheck this enable caching option. Okay, this is the settings we need to add in the configure control. Just click on OK, then normal procedure, save the section and create the flow action. And then in the activity, so this activity must be created with the same name whatever given in the control properties. So in the control properties, what are the activity name given, with the same name we have to create activity. First of all, in the pages and classes from which table we are fetching the data, we have to provide the class name and the reference page name, and this can be any name we can give, and the method name is obj browse. Okay, in the parameters give the page name and class name and the property name. And in the next step, the method for displaying the records is show page method. So if I see in the backend, so in the activity you can check the output whether it is fetching or not. I will run and execute. If you execute this activity, in the backend it will show the results in XML format. You can see the results in XML format. But in the runtime, you will get all those records dynamically in the drop down. See here, so all the records it is displaying in XML format. So some 5 records are there, not 5, 6 records are there. So all the 6 records, so it is, so using the show page it is displaying here. So same records in the runtime it will display in the property drop down. So for the property, for your property, in the drop down it will display all these records. In the backend it will generate a XML format. So just you can see in the backend. Okay, so then I'm adding in the flow diagram. Okay, so try to practice these sessions. So I think you did not practice the previous sessions also. So these things, these 3 are important, very important. Last 2-3 classes. So, okay, in this Saturday and Sunday, so try to practice the sessions. So and try with the different types. So whatever the, so in this weekend, so the work is like, so I have shown the insert with single page, right? So I have shown a inserting with one page I showed you. So the same thing try with more than one page. So first of all, add 2 pages, means so 2 user interface, like 2 flow actions create in the flow, and from the both the flows, so whatever you are entering the data, it should save in the database table. And you can use all the properties you can add in single data table if you want. What are the properties you are using in both the sections, so all those properties try to add in a single data table. Or else if you want, you can try using the 2 different data tables also, not a problem. And try with 2 different pages, and also this repeating row and repeating column also try to practice. So everyone, the software is installed, right? Yeah, Selva, Adi, you are having the software, right, installed in your systems. Okay, Selva, what about you? Are you practicing? Sorry, any did you install software problem, installation problem, or what? Okay, date and everything. Once show me, I'll make the presenter. Did you start the server? Start the server soon. Meanwhile, if you are not started, means. Okay, is the class see whether if you want to know whether the class is created properly or not, so try to create any flow and execute that flow. If the flow is working fine means then everything is fine. Okay, in the pop-up click on S option and remove that one pop-up. In the down you got a pop-up, click on S. No, in the Internet Explorer you are getting a pop-up, right? Click on S option. Yeah, do you want to Internet Explorer to remember the password for localhost? Click on S option, that one, and close that one. Okay, click on down arrow in the keys option. No, not plus symbol, down arrow from your keyboard, down arrow. Yeah, now select PYID, type. Yeah, you have to click on down arrow actually, not first of all, not open tab. You have to click on down arrow. You need to use the down arrow for any option. PYID. I already told you in the mail also. I already told, right? I sent a mail to you. So if you got that problem, I told to click on down arrow, then you'll get all the options from the keyboard. Already I told you. Oh no, PYID will be, so no. Once again, delete that one and check from the drop down. PYID, PY will be small, ID will be caps. PY, I, type I. Okay, select that one from the keyboard. Okay, fine. Now it is okay, right? So save the class. Okay, try to work it out, because see, I think you did not practice anything. Once check the table. Are you able to open the data tables? You have to practice, Silva, because see, I think you did not done any practice till now. Okay, once go to tables. Is the tables working in your system? Click on Pega logo. Check the videos and practice here. So these 2 days. Data model, data tables. Okay, click on add a new data table. Okay, no problem. You can create the tables also. Okay, so keep on practicing from now. Okay, which one? That send space, from the send space I send. Credit card. Are you sure? I didn't. Dropbox, actually I don't know. Yahoo removed that service from the past 2 days. That is the reason I'm sending from other path. The wait, I will check that one. I will check and I will tell you once. I think it will not ask. One second, but anyway I will check it once. And what this Yahoo, they removed that Dropbox option. I don't know, from the past 2 days. Still I'm not getting. So previously under the attachments you will get the attach from Dropbox. I don't know, they terminated that option. And this Google Drive also, so many are getting some issues. Okay, 1 second. Okay, this is the download option, right? Click here to start download. It is downloading directly only, Adi. Yeah, I think install any Java update or anything. You have to. Can you see my screen, right? Uh, just if after clicking this, it is directly downloading. Then don't use those options. Those are some other options. This is the link you need to use. This one. Click here to start download from send space. You need to use that one. Okay, okay. Don't use any other options. This is the option you need to use. Click here to start download from send space. It will directly download. Okay, actually this is easy one. Yes, I don't know. You very easy. From now I'm be sending from send space only. Okay. Okay, okay, fine. Thank you. So next class will be on Monday. Okay. Meanwhile, complete these sessions. Practice all the. So till today. Okay, Selva. You also need to complete this practice. Okay. Tomorrow no class. Monday morning. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Can I?